Don't do that. Hi everyone, I am here today representing the Sex Workers Action Program of Hamilton. Really just want to thank the organizers here because they're doing an excellent job, and no matter the mistakes, they are doing an excellent job, and I hope that they know that they all deserve really large pats on the back. Thank you so much. Okay, so sex work is a complicated issue. Sex work, the sex trade industry is often comprised of many marginalized people, majority women. This includes migrant women, this includes racialized women, especially Asian, Indigenous, and Black women. This includes transgender women such as myself. This includes a wide variety of people, including women who live with disabilities that rely on the sex trade or the sale or trade of sexual services in order to survive under a capitalistic system where we still need to pay rent. I think of COVID-19 and I think of about how all of us have been having to adapt, or at least a lot of us have had to adapt to working from home. But what if you lived in a place in a country where your work was criminalized and you could be evicted from working from home because of COVID-19? This is the reality of many indoor sex workers right now who are fearing the eviction or fearing threatening actions from landlords, property managers, and police who can only be surveilled, policed, and treated this way under a criminalized context. In 2012, the Bedford federal case showed that many of the laws in Canada that police prostitution are unconstitutional. Many of them have been struck down, and most recently in the Anwar case, the London escort agency was tried in Kitchener, and 2 of those laws were also found to be unconstitutional. We are leaving women without justice. We are leaving many people who sell or trade sexual services without recourse to not just justice, but dignity. I'm going to read you some quotes here. This is from a publication called The Perils of Protection, Sex Workers' Experiences of Law Enforcement in Ontario, which was published by the Canadian HIV and AIDS Legal Network. This publication is available for free online in a PDF format. Just Google it. In one frightening incident, police entered the hotel room of Kelly, a young Black sex worker, where she was working with a friend. Sex workers work together in order to save on hotel room costs, but that is considered a crime, as it is considered operating a body house. They had their guns drawn and claimed to be investigating a domestic violence complaint. When there was obviously no indication of domestic violence, the police detained the 2 women and questioned Kelly's involvement in sex work, including whether she controlled her friend, including whether or not she identified as a pimp, even though there was no evidence to warrant such a suggestion. Outdoor sex workers, and this is where I might bring up the Barton Stroll. Before I moved to Hamilton, the Barton Street was referenced as a place to find street-based sex workers, and in a pejorative sense. So street-based sex workers are universally described experiences of arbitrary detention or arrest, including being harassed by police and being provided multiple tickets for loitering or other infractions under municipal laws. Especially if the sex worker in question is transgender or is a person who uses drugs, are racialized or indigenous. And as I mentioned, in 2014, when the Protections of Community and Exploited Persons Act passed, also known as Bill C-36, these laws would continue to be policed, and many sex workers face this harm. A number of sex workers, particularly individuals from marginalized social locations, as I said, racialized, indigenous, Black, migrant, trans, people with drugs, people with disabilities, etc., describe experiences arbitrary and disproportionate application of the law by various law enforcement officials, including why does this matter? Because most of the people here have sex. It doesn't matter whether you sell it or you trade it for a living. If you have sex, it is sexuality which is being policed. I have sex and I like sex. Why do I have to police in my bed for me? Trudeau, the father of our current Prime Minister, said the state should not be in the nation's bedroom. I feel like this doesn't apply equally to people under capitalism that are protected. White gays and white queer people often protected, except when it comes to country. I just want to bring a local context to this. Shavrana Abdi is a Black sex worker in Hamilton who was murdered by the Hamilton
Why are you
Police
approaching somebody in a
Services.
square?
Maybe 2016
I'm here for a
17.
peaceful protest.
She was, I believe it was considered a domestic violence call.
Is he a stand by it? Hey? Isn't the world free? I can say what I want. So what are you doing here again? You're approaching me again. I haven't moved.
Because she is a sex worker.
You keep circling me. Every
she's
time
black,
you're either here or
her
you're
life is
there.
not important to the people.
Go the fuck away.
She has no
Assalamu
protection.
alaikum. Get the fuck out of
And
here.
this is why this is important in Hamilton. We are
Right?
considered
Why
a
approach
sanctuary
someone?
city. Many sex workers are migrants. If you are a person who has status in Canada,
Get the fuck out of here. You know.
selling or trading sexual services. Municipal law enforcement in
You know what?
Toronto often police massage parlors where majority Asian male migrant sex workers
Do something about it.
I'm not going to do anything about it.
Because you can't.
false
But
premises.
we're not going to accept that language here.
One of the demands that I have been told I'm allowed to state
Shut the
is
fuck up. The best thing you can do is stay silent.
and in context, there is currently a federal directive to stop prosecuting drug possession. There is a federal directive to stop prosecuting the non-disclosure of HIV as aggravated sexual assault. And most recently in Toronto, the municipal law enforcement through the advocacy of Butterfly, the Asian migrant sex workers group, have agreed to stop enforcing the parlor massage laws, which include a prohibition on locking the door. So if I, as a sex worker, working in a massage parlor, works in the room and I lock the door, I could be arrested. I could potentially be deported if I was not a citizen. One of the demands that we are making, along with all of these things that we see as possible, are possible, is for the federal directive
You know what?
to stop prosecuting sex work offenses as it is currently listed under PCEPA. Sex work is work. It should be decriminalized. We do not want to be legalized. The government becomes the case. We are legalized. They take money from the sex workers. They force us to be licensed. They create a false dichotomy of legal and illegal sex workers where they cannot undergo or refuse to be tested under a mandatory sexual health
I buy sex
public
workers.
health system. I personally
Who wants to
anybody
take
who
this?
has sex,
Is there a sex worker here? I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
Decision. Sex workers are incredibly oppressed. Even feminists like to state that what they do is harm against women. I can tell you the trans women have been a source of resilience and survival for myself for almost 8 years now. I started when I was 17 when I was homeless, and I have been able to survive as a result of this. I have been incarcerated as a trans woman in the men's prison in Maplehurst. Thank you.
Maplehurst,
I understand what it means, and I am white, and I am thin, and I do benefit from many of these privileges. Sex work is a really complicated issue, but what I want you to take from today is that we need to decriminalize sex work now. We need to protect the marginalized people who engage in the sale or trade of sexual services, and we need to understand that. I'm also going to drop a bomb right now, like figuratively. One of the reports that we received in SWAP is that police actually bring sex workers behind their side on the and coerce them into free sexual services less than pay for that. This is our local history. This is important. In 1987, City Hall of Hamilton had legalized prostitution spray painted on it. But you don't hear about that, even though it was reported in The Spectator, because they cover this shit up. They cover up our history. Sex workers are everywhere. Sex workers are all of us. If prostitutes are not safe, nobody is safe. Thank you.